Hi, this is Ingrid from Quiltessential Co in St. Albert, and we are going to be working on our block of the month. This is April, and so we're going to be doing one slight extra variation this time because we're working with half triangle rectangles. So come and join me to cut it all out. So now we're going to cut out, and it's quite simple this month because they're all very similar. So A, B, C, D, E, and F. All of these are strips. And then when you get to F, you're just going to make that strip into rectangles, and that will be all that you need to do to cut out. And now we're going to fold and sew. Make sure you get your extra 2 peaks in 1 Ingrid notes out so that you know what you're doing, and you're going to use this April block of the month notes too. And these fabrics are not necessarily the same color that you have in your kit. I'm just using them as a sample. So make sure with your A, you're cutting out the large triangle. So you'll be just cutting down here, cutting up here, nice and straight. And that will give you your triangle, and then flip it and cut more. So you're going to cut your large triangles from A. When you're cutting with B, make sure that you have your B nicely together, wrong sides together, and I like to press this so it doesn't move on you. And then when you're cutting the next shape, these are the tall skinny triangles, make sure you're on the right line, blunt to the top, and trim up the edge. Once you've trimmed the edge, make sure you move it to the side so you get a little tiny bit of fudge factor, and then cut. And you're going to keep turning and cutting every time. Make sure you're using that little bit of fudge factor, and before you separate your units, make sure you use that baseline and then just cut off that little tiny little corner here for putting things together as you have before. And then as we did before, you're going to be then sewing your A and your B here and your B here, and make sure that you line up that blunt end and have that triangle showing when you sew so that it all works out really evenly. And that will give you your AB unit. And now we're going to work to the next one. So I have my D and my E, and I'm going to be making these half triangle pieces out of these 2. So make sure that they are folded and they are wrong sides together. This is super important because you need them to go in different directions. I've left my fudge factor, cut up, and then taken off the little edge, and then I will just turn my ruler, and I'm going to make another whole set over here. And I'm doing the same with this one, so that when we then sew these together, you'll see exactly what I mean. When we sew them together, we're going to have them pointed in different directions. If you don't have these folded, they'll all go in the same direction. That won't be such a good idea. So we need these to go in different directions. When you sew these together, they're going to look odd. If they look odd, they're right. If you put it together and it looks perfect when you sew it, you are wrong. So make sure that they are put together with the flat on the top, diagonal together, and across over here. And you're going to sew straight down here. Now I'm going to pretend. Once we've sewn these, we're going to have 2 that look like this and 2 that look like this, and we need to square those up. So what I like to do is, I've told you what measurement to go with. I have used a Sharpie, and I've put a little dot 1/4 of an inch down and 1/4 inch in from where I need to trim it up on each corner, so that when I do trim it up, if I put those right on my center fold here, I can just trim up the little pieces on either side, and that will make sure that I'm lined up properly here and I don't cut off my points when I sew. So you're going to make 2 like this, 2 like this, and trim them. And then you are going to add your F triangles. So here we have a piece like this, and a piece like this. And we are adding an F triangle to the side so that we get a block that looks just like this. and then we sew our rows together like normal and trim up like normal, and there's a wonderful block, and it makes a great quilt. So look at your instructions for that. So thanks for sewing with me today, and just a reminder, don't forget we have a very special event at the end of this month. So we've got Deb Strain, who designs for Moda, and we have Barb from Coach House Designs, who's Canadian, and she designs fantastic patterns that I'm sure you'd recognize. They're going to do a trunk show each, which means they're bringing their quilts to show us and talk about how they design and how they do things, and they're both going to be teaching a class. So don't forget to sign up for that, because that's going to be a very fun event. And if you found this video useful, please leave us a like and click subscribe for future content. And this has been Ingrid from Quiltessential Co in St. Albert, and thank you for sewing with me today, and we'll see you next month.